Hi.
Hi. Hey, Tanya.
Hey, Nikki.
What up?
What's up?
You know what's funny about this theme song is
Mhm,
that it's creepy, but I'm cool with it. And the
mm.
reason I say that is because the theme song from Unsolved Mysteries gives me nightmares.
Hmm,
I
really?
saw too many really fucked up episodes as a kid that made me just like people who disappeared and never came back because they were like kidnapped violently. Yeah, that, and I don't remember what the theme is for America's Most Wanted, but also
I
triggering
used to love
nightmares.
watching that. I always thought I would catch a criminal. Like I was so sure that I would solve the crimes.
I love that.
Before we
I would
get
have.
started, what are you drinking?
So we're double fisting today. On the healthier side, I have a mango pomelo yogurt boba that you can't see. There you go. It's delicious. I also am drinking, um, I guess to the chagrin of my shirt, the Tully Scotch. House Tully Scotch. Oops, no branding. Yeah,
I am having another golden monkey.
it's
Yeah,
the Twilight Zone. The drinks just don't come through.
yeah, they don't come through. So I'm just go ahead and pour my tall boy into a glass because I'm a lady.
Hold it up to the microphone so we can get that delicious pour sound.
It's not making much noise.
Ah, it's too bad. That's what we do. Check out my cousin and his friends podcast, the Beer Avengers. They have I think it's a weekly podcast that comes out, and they talk all about beers. And they sometimes they travel and they talk about it, but each round they have like a different beer theme. I have been on there once, and they dubbed me Mother of Flagons. So shout out to the Beer Avengers.
Shout out to the Bear Vengers. AK might be joining us. We'll just wait and see if she does. In the meantime, tonight we're talking about the Twilight Zone, season 1, episode 21, Mirror Image.
That's my new special effects.
What did you think about the episode?
Man, what did I think about the episode? I love Twilight Zone, and I haven't seen any of the newer version, like not the new ones, because I keep forgetting those exist. Is it the new ones like hosted by Jordan Peele or something?
Hmm.
Am I making that up? Okay.
No, you're
So I
right.
haven't seen the new ones, but I love the classic, just like, Star Trek OTS. I love that era of television because the writing was it's so interesting to me. But I really liked this because I feel well, I think in a lot of Twilight Zone episodes, the things that happen, you're like, okay, you're expecting something strange to happen. But I've been in bus stops and bus stations really late at night where you're just so tired and you're just, you're tired, your bus is late, you just want to get to your next destination. And, I don't know. I've felt a little bit loopy. I mean, I've been so tired that I hallucinated. So I felt a kinship with the good sis. Um, yeah, yeah.
From Peter Griffin, my favorite of all time is still The Howling Man, but this was a good one.
Mm.
I don't even know if this one is my favorite one. Just when I was trying to pick an episode, there's so many that I love that I couldn't really
Mm.
decide. And so I just like thought of one that stood out in my mind and that isn't like one of the like top 10 episodes that everyone talks about.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this came to mind. And so I chose it. I don't know what my favorite one is. I have to think about that.
I think my favorite one is the one where like the electricity goes out in town. There's a famous actor. I can't remember what else he was in. Maybe I think it's like some cop show. But the electricity goes out in town, and all these strange things start happening. And this kid is like reading this comic. And he's like, "No, this is exactly how it happens." And the thing is like, they flew over, and you guys were supposed to stay inside, or you didn't come outside, or whatever. And it turns out there's like this alien invasion that's happening. I think that's my favorite one. But I also really love the one. What's it called? Time Enough at Last. That
Oh,
one.
is that the
The
one
one
with
where
the reading?
the one with the reading where the guy's like always trying to find time to read a book and
And
it
everyone just
always get
clowns him for wanting to
everybody
read.
just exactly. I won't spoil it if you haven't seen it, but oh man, that is a crazy episode because of
Yeah.
he finally gets what he wants, but there's a twist.
I thought about doing that one. especially since we book club and I'm always trying to find time to read now because I have those gremlins and it, makes it hard.
Mhm.
And so I was like, this one feels so relevant to my life right now. But it's actually such a popular episode that I was like, nobody wants to hear me talk about it too.
Yeah. That one or the one with the pig faces?
Yeah, that one I love too.
Oh, it's called, The Monsters Are Due on Maple Street.
Oh, that's episode 22. I was about to
Oh, yeah, it's the one right after.
Yeah, I was actually about to watch that.
Yeah. Yeah, shout out to Paper. I love this show. I
Me
love the show. I
too.
love Rod Serling as the host. You know, he's like the right type of creepy for it,
Mhm.
you know. It's like you could take his personality as a host in this makes me want to believe everything he says. It makes the things that happen plausible, you know.
Mhm.
I'm not like, oh no, this is not like a homeboy from Mr. Host Raymond from last week,
Oh, he's like, because he's
right?
super campy and
He's like,
dramatic.
yes.
Rod
Was a
Serling sounds like he's reading
dream.
the news.
Exactly. So it's like, oh man, is this for real? Like, I wonder if like we got invaded by some other species and like the Twilight Zone was what they were watching. If they're like, this is the news, guys. Did you know? Did you
This is a
did you know that's
wild
in the bus
place.
stop? Yeah, yeah. I'm glad we're doing this.
Well, this episode's all about doppelgangers.
Gaslighting. I feel like maybe that's just me being triggered, but I feel like all of the Twilight Zone episodes are about gaslighting to some degree. Like, no, it's not really happening, is it? Yeah, no, you're crazy. Yeah.
I mean, she sees her doppelganger. Well, first it's the weird things that happen, right? The
Whew.
ticket taker is like, "What are you talking about? You've been up here 3 times. Leave me alone."
Yeah, it's so rude.
He's very rude, but he's also
You
very
think he's rude
frustrated
until
because she
he's like
just
frustrated, right?
yeah, like she's just asked him like 3 times.
It's like when your kids or like your little kids are like, when are we? It's like the are we there yet question, but from an adult.
Right. Oh, real quick. Howling
Mhm.
Man episode.
Or the guy house. Oh shit.
Yeah, I need to go
Well,
back.
guess I'll be watching that later.
Yeah. It's funny, I always when I used to go to North Carolina for New Year's to bring the kids, I would binge watch Twilight Zone every New Year's Eve. I don't know
Mm.
why New Year's Eve made me want to binge watch Twilight Zone, but I would just binge watch Twilight Zone all night and just like chill and drink wine. And it was a nice time. And I think I might do that again this New Year's Eve.
That
Anyway,
sounds like a great time.
Millicent sees her doppelganger. First her suitcase is moving. Suitcase won't
Yeah.
stay put. The ticket taker is telling her she needs to stop coming up and asking him because he's already answered her question. The
She's like,
bathroom
what
attendant
are
is
you talking about?
right. The bathroom attendant is worried because she's like, "You were just in here. Are you sure you're okay?"
Can we talk about real quick how, as sweet as she was, she tried to give her a cold compress from a rag that she was using to clean the
To
bathroom?
clean,
Like,
yes. I
that
saw her
bothers
go.
me every time I watch it.
I saw her go over when she said, "I'm going to get you a cold cloth." I thought she was going to get a paper towel
Me
because the
too.
thing is right there, and then she didn't, and I was like, "Where did that cloth come from?"
That was the creepiest part to me. Episode over.
Well, it was fun.
Yeah.
Thank you. Good night.
Thanks. See you next time as we're doing the craft.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
was
that
disgusting. And it's funny, like, why a cold compress? Like, she's having delusions. I don't think, well, I guess if you think she has a
nope.
fever.
Yeah, I mean, because fever dreams and hallucinations are real. Do not recommend getting that far, but whew, what a trip.
Have you ever seen your doppelganger?
I have not seen, actually, no, not really. I've seen people who kind of look like me. People sent me pictures of people who look like me. But Tanya knows a couple months ago, something strange was going on in the land of Brooke. And I was like, people kept calling me or they texted me like, hey, are you on the train? And I'd be like, yeah, I'm on the train. Like, oh, wait, are you on the F train? I'm like, I am on the F train. And I'm like, oh, where are you? And it's like somebody else. They're like, oh, wait. I'm like, I'm wearing a bright red jacket. And they're like, oh, wait, no, that's not you. Or somebody called me like, yo, I just saw you walking across the street. I was like, I'm absolutely in my apartment right now. So, yeah.
So I had someone call me and go, "Are you in Chicago right now?" And I was like, nope, definitely not in Chicago. And she was like, stop playing with me. For real, are you in Chicago? I was like, I've never even been to Chicago. And she was like, I swear I just saw you in the parking lot and I yelled your name and you didn't respond. And
Mm.
I was like, I've never even been to Chicago. It definitely wasn't me. And then another friend of mine told me she was getting a rental from LaGuardia Airport and like saw me standing in line. And then because she was so close, realized it wasn't me, but was so
Mm.
stunned that she called me and told me. And I think she showed the woman my picture, and even the woman was like, holy shit. And she was just like,
Yeah.
I've had someone approach me and call me by the wrong name.
Oh, yeah, I've had that happen too.
Uh-huh.
That's weird.
Twice in Boston. Once was on the train. I think it was like Angela or something like that. And they were like, hey, Angela. And I was like, and then somebody else called me the same name, also in Boston, on like
Mm.
Boylston Street. I was walking down the street and somebody was like, "Oh, hey." And I was like, "Sorry, you have the wrong person." And they're looking at me like, "What?" And then I saw my own doppelganger in Brooklyn.
Mhm.
I was walking down the street and I was wearing a pea coat and my hair was like froed out. And I was walking past this woman and she also had her hair froed out, black glasses, black pea coat. And I looked at her face and she looked at me and she looked like me. And I think she saw it too because we both kind of was like, and we just kept walking, we didn't say anything, we just passed each other, and I was like, "Did I just die?"
You know, it's like, is there if you like if you guys had spoken to each other, it would have like
It would have
ruined the
fucked up the
world.
time-space continuum.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was very creepy. I wondered if I had just died, and then I wondered if I was going to, because
You
it was
know?
just weird
Like,
to
which
walk
way were
past
you
yourself.
coming from, right? Like, which are you,
Yeah,
like, on your way to die, or did you die and now you're a ghost walking away from wherever you died?
it's just a really weird feeling. Yeah, it's a really, really trippy and weird feeling to walk past yourself on the street.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
really freaked me, like, I was fucked up all night, like, it freaked me out so bad, and I
Yeah.
never saw her again.
Of course not. Of course not.
So Millicent,
Poor Millicent.
poor Millicent, it gets to the point where she sees herself sitting on the bus with that smug grin.
I have to say, shout out, because I think something that I also really enjoy about Twilight Zone of this era is the way that they had to film things in order to make these things hit, right? Because it's not CGI. It's like camera tricks. Um,
Mhm,
and I think the first thing that I noticed is because I'd watched it a couple times now, that opening shot where they're like, oh, it's the bus depot, and they kind of like do this like pan around, like up. They show you the luggage, and they show you the guy, and then they come around to her, and her bag isn't there, right? Or
mhm.
when she opens up the bathroom door, and I just like I knew she was going to see her in the mirror, but I was like, well, how are they gonna pull that off? Um, yeah, so shout out to the special effects and camera tricks.
Yeah, it was really cool. Um, her little twin had that smug grin, and that was, to me, really creepy,
Mhm.
and then she goes into her conversation about the metaphysical and all those things, and the guy is like, "This is a little too weird for me," and he tells her he has, like remember he says he has a friend in Tully. And
Mhm.
then instead he's calling the cops. And I was like, "No, don't call
Cheers.
the."
Actually, maybe it was a subliminal thing. That's why I'm drinking this now.
I was like, "No, don't call the cops." And then I was like, "Oh,
Mm,
yeah. It's not
it's
always a good
understood.
idea. Not always a good idea to call the cops for a mental health check. It can
Yeah.
go really bad."
Yeah.
But it didn't go that bad for her. I mean, she was taken away to go to like an asylum, I
Can
suppose.
I? So that scene where she gets taken away was really disturbing to me. Not because they were taking her away, but because the other cop got in the back seat with her, and for me, it made me feel like really uncomfortable. Um,
To me, it
yeah,
was creepy because no one said anything.
yeah.
They just show up and she's grabbed and put in a car.
Hmm.
No one says anything until the cop says to the guy, um, whatever it is he said, but nobody said anything to her.
Yeah,
They
no,
just
they were
they
just
just
like she
pulled
just
up
walked outside
and they just pull up and snatch her,
off
and
the
that's
dry
it.
ground.
Well, I assume that the bus depot had like a area that you drive through to get dropped off by your taxi.
That's what I thought too, but then I remember seeing that the ground was wet earlier, and I was like, "Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah, well, that's fine." Um, yeah, I guess we should talk more about her experience, right?
Mhm.
It's like she goes up to the thing, she's complaining, the guy's like, "Oh my god, are you drunk? Sit down."
Yeah. Yeah, so he said
Right?
she was hungover.
Yeah, I was like, "What, is that how people act when they're hungover?" 'Cause I mean, maybe it was, "What did I do last night?" 'Cause I think
Mhm.
we've all been there, so fair. Um, I've never been drunk though. Um, and I just heard that's like what happens. Um, and she sits down and she's just so disoriented. Like she's walking away and her bag was there when she left, and it's just, and then she notices her bag is missing. And she turns around, and the guy, he's like, and she doesn't want to bother the man who has clearly said that he's bothered too many times, because in her
Mhm.
mind, it's like, well, obviously he's tired, it's cranky, it's like 2 o'clock in the morning, we're all late. Like there's nothing he can do. Apparently, I've been annoying him, so let me not get any more on his bad side. But sir,
Right.
where's that bag? Looks just like mine,
Down to the broken handle.
down to the broken handle. And I feel like there's an instance where they're in. It's like it's in 2 places at once. Like, she's
Cuz next to
peeking through the
her,
dimensions.
yeah. Oh,
Oh! Huh! Well, well. What's her
would you
name in
look at that?
Psycho? Yeah, I couldn't remember. I thought she looked familiar too, but I was too lazy to do the googles. Um, yeah, so she's got the thing in the 2 places, and it's just like, "Oh, okay. Well, she's not tripping because that bag looks just like hers, and her bag is there," until it's not. And it just makes me does it really reminds me. Tanya knows, like, there's been a billion times that I'm on the phone with her and I can't find something that I know was exactly where I left it, and then, like,
Mhm.
weeks later, it pops up in the place where I was looking for it,
Mhm.
and I don't know how it got there. Because,
Yeah,
like I said, I've never been
that
drunk.
happens to me all of course not. Why would you ever? That's happened to me a bunch of times too.
Oh, right, your ghost. The socks.
I was just about to say about the socks.
Tell us the story about the socks, Tanya.
So one day, I go to get a pair of socks out of my sock drawer. My sock drawer is completely empty. Now, my sock drawer has socks, it has tights, it has like the little socky slippers, like all of those things go in one drawer. And it was completely empty. And I had no idea where my socks were for like 3 days. I couldn't find my socks. And then I was in my closet doing something else, and I see a bag. What is this bag? And I open it, and all of my socks and tights were in there.
I blame
And
Laris.
I asked he wanted me to be barefoot for a while.
Yeah.
I asked my husband, I'm like, "Did you empty my sock drawer?" And he was like, "No, why would I empty your sock drawer?" And I'm like looking at my kid and I'm like, he couldn't have done it. Like he's not tall enough. And also, why would he? And then put them in my
Mhm.
closet. And there's just no reason that I would have emptied all my socks out and put them in a bag. So yeah, I
Yeah.
guess I was in the Twilight Zone. I still don't have an explanation for that.
Yeah, that was really strange.
Unless I just slept, I was sleepwalking, I guess, and
Maybe.
decided
My
to put all
friends
my socks away. I've never sleepwalked in my life. Slept
I have a
walked?
sleep I don't know if it's slept walk or
Sleepwalked?
sleepwalked. I think sleepwalked.
Sleepwalked?
Sleepwalked. Hmm. The grammar of that is gonna break my head open. I have a friend she's a sleepwalker, and they have on her, like, on all of her doors, they have, like, a special thing, so it's like you have to grasp, it's like a child lock, but it's like you have to grasp the plastic covering and squeeze it, so you can't just open the door and go outside, and
Oh,
for some reason,
like
she's
the
not able
child
to do that in
locks.
her sleeps. Yeah. Oh, if we sleptwalked. Like, it's like a child it is like a child lock, but it feels like more advanced than that. But yeah, she's gotta do that because she hasn't ever gone to drive, but she's had her keys in her hand, because
Ooh.
she'll have whole conversations. I think we think of sleepwalking as, oh, this thing, and, like, people walking with their arms out being asleep, but she's walking around and she's like having conversations with her husband and stuff.
That's scary. Would we
Yeah.
know if we were sleepwalking? I don't know. I mean, no one's ever told me they saw me sleepwalking.
Yeah, it would take someone else to tell you.
Yes, they do say to never wake a sleepwalker. I don't know if that is either, and I've never understood why. And I always assumed it's because they'd get violent, but
Yeah,
I
me
don't know
too.
why I thought that.
Hold on, I'm gonna Google that real quick. Oh yeah, it says when startled, the sleepwalker will act out in a manner like a fight or flight response.
Oh, okay. So yeah, they would get violent. I was
Yeah.
right. Hey, AK.
Basically, you have to encourage them to go back to bed.
My brother used to
Okay.
sleepwalk.
Yeah.
He used to always just go down the stairs to the front door because, like, the way our upstairs was, um, he had to like go up a hallway, turn the corner, go down the stairs, and the stairway went straight to the front door. And so my mom would just catch him like standing in the front door.
Hmm. Yeah.
It
It
scared
says
the shit out of me.
I'm looking more. It says that you can lead them back to bed. Is the way to go. Lead them back to bed. But you should wake them up if they look like they're gonna hurt somebody. Absolutely, wake them up then. You know,
Slap them in the
coming
face.
at you with a knife.
That's, I don't know. Sleepwalking just
Come
seems so
play
scary
with
to me.
me.
Sleepwalking just seems so scary to me. Just like sometimes my husband talks in his sleep very clearly.
Mm,
And so I've always wondered if he was going to sleepwalk, and I haven't seen him do it in all these
mm,
years, but he has spoken very clearly, like
yeah.
more than a few times.
Do you
I
ever
feel like
like?
he has it in him.
Oh, I wonder if that's hereditary.
I haven't, oh God, if my kids were sleepwalkers,
They're already haunting you all day long. Like
they
that's the
are
last thing you
already
need.
little hauntings. I don't need them to haunt me at night.
Yeah, Garvey scared the shit out of you last week.
Just this little face showed up in the corner while we're live streaming. Just all of a sudden there was just this little ghost face just in the corner, and it's absolutely scared. I almost screamed. It was so
Mm,
scary. And like there have been
yeah.
times where like I go to open the fridge, I bend down to get something, get up and shut the door, and he's just standing there. And I
Hmm.
didn't hear him coming. It's so creepy.
He's a haint.
He is. If they were sleepwalkers, it would absolutely fuck me up. We've digressed so far. Um
I mean, I feel like it's all
it's,
related.
yeah, it's related. So she wasn't sleepwalking, she wasn't imagining things.
She
And
wasn't
this guy,
hungover.
she was not hungover, and as Rod Serling said, she had a good head on her shoulders. She was
I was
not
just
given
gonna
to
say
flights
that.
of fancy. Yeah.
Do you like that the generic description of a girl with a career in those times? She has a
Yeah.
good head. She has a head on her shoulders. Not even a good one, just a head.
What
Uh,
part was creepier in this episode? Her looking at herself in the mirror or that creepy smile Doppler at the very end? I was just about to say about the creepy smile Doppler at the end. Him running and looking back and smiling and then turning around and running again. Absolutely creepy. Way
yeah,
creepier, because at least the
yeah.
lady on the bus was just kind of smiling and relaxing. This guy
I,
was just running. Where was he running to? What was he running from? Why was he running? Why did he look back and smile? It's like,
why
I
was
know
he
I'm taking you.
giggling?
He's like, I know I'm taking your place. You know? Oh, it was so creepy. It was very creepy. Now I want to watch it again.
Gingerbread man vibes. I
Can't
thought
catch
that
me.
mhm. I thought the part where she saw herself in the mirror was
That was
creepier than
really
the bus
spooky.
part because I'm like she's seeing her and the other woman is like she's not shocked or alarmed at all to see her, right? She's just like, "Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm in
I'm
your
just
seat,
chilling.
bitch."
And it's funny
Uh,
that nobody else saw them at the same time.
hmm. Yeah. I thought something that happened I liked what I wrote this piece on playing music.
Oh, here's a fun
Oh,
fact from Peter Griffin.
nice tidbit.
Yeah. Okay. Rod wrote this on a plane when he seen his lookalike at the airport. I think if I saw my lookalike at the airport, it'd freak me out even more.
I feel like I'd be less freaked out by it because, airports there's so many people coming in and out. I feel like the chance that you might see a doppelganger is much higher than just walking down the street in, Brooklyn or Queens or something. But I guess like, if you live in a city where it's almost 9 million people, odds are pretty high that you might see somebody or just be related to somebody that you don't even know.
There's always that. Did the lady next to the mirror see them both? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I
She
don't
was
think
busy
so.
looking
And
at
she was, yeah, I was gonna say she was
the
busy
woman,
looking
Millicent.
at Millicent. Um,
You
yeah.
know that
And
now that you mentioned seeing possibly being related to someone and you don't know it. I once went on a blind date as a double date, and my date was the exact spitting image of my father, but like 30 years younger. Down to like my father has these little indents in his forehead. He had the little indents in his forehead. My
deal
father has
breaker.
had long locks. He had long locks. Like he looked so much like my father. It freaked like as soon as I saw him, date was over. Like I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and I told him flat out, like, you look exactly like my father. And I think he was from Chicago, which is now why I asked my dad, I'm like, Daddy, be honest. Is there a possibility? Is there a possibility that I have siblings? And
Yeah.
he's like, no, of course not. And I'm like, just be honest with me.
I
Just
won't get
do.
mad.
I won't get mad. Is it possible that I have siblings in another state? And he's like, no, like, what are you talking about? And I showed him the picture. He was so shocked. He was staring at it and touching his own face. Like that's how
Wow.
shocked he was. He was just like going like this and like just staring at the picture, and he was like, "Oh my god." And then my cousin came by and she saw it and was like, "When was your dad?" And it was when I lived in Miami. She's like, "When was your dad in Miami?" I was like, "Look closer." And then she realized it was a younger version and the picture was too clear for that to be my dad, and she was just like, "Oh my god." And
Mm.
I was like, "Yeah." And we were all just sitting there like, "What the hell?" Okay, here's a comment from could have been grandpa visiting Chicago back in the day.
I
Honestly, Peter
mean,
Griffin, my dad does not know his dad. So we don't know
mm.
where he lives. I don't know if he's probably based on my grandma's age, he's probably dead by now. But it very likely could have been a relative because my dad doesn't know his dad.
Mm. I was about
So
to
and the
dox you,
fact
but I was
that
gonna say the Chicago blanks.
yeah, no, don't dox me. But but the fact that this blind date was from Chicago and that I've been seen twice in Chicago allegedly, I kind of want to
Mm-hmm.
do an I kind of want to do like an ancestry thing and find out because I know I have other family out there.
Do you know that 23andMe, and I may be wrong about this, but my friend told me this and I haven't checked. Um, those ancestry things can be covered by FSA.
Really?
Yeah.
I need to look into
Hmm.
that.
Yeah.
Peter
Mm-hmm.
Griffin, I didn't know mine. Do you mean you didn't know your dad or your granddad? While
Mm-hmm.
he answers,
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, could have been Grandpa visiting Chicago back in the day.
Yeah. This whole, you know what? The other thing I like about this episode is that she's like, you know what? Let me not fuck with any of these people anymore. Let's see this old couple over here. Maybe they've seen something. And she goes over and, oh yeah, please do, Mr. Griffin. Um, whew,
Yes, please look for them.
whew. Excuse me, I'm tired. um, I'm like sipping my scotch so slowly because I don't want to be awake forever. Anyway, when she comes back and she asks that couple, and the woman's like, "No, I don't know what you're
She's like,
talking
I
about."
wasn't watching your seat.
Like I've got my husband asleep on my shoulder.
Yeah, like
Like
nobody is paying
I'm
attention to your seat.
just trying to make sure we both don't miss the bus by falling asleep. Like,
Right.
please fall back. But the reason I love that scene so much is because she walks away and she goes back to the bench, very clearly holding her bag in her hand. And then she sits down and what's homeboy's name?
The guy,
The guy.
I forgot.
That motherfucker. He comes over and he's like, "Oh, miss, I think you dropped your bag." And the first time I watched it, I was like, "Oh, that was nice of him." And then I was like, "Wait, wait, 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 wait." Like the next two times I watched it, I was like, "But she's holding her bag.
Her
She
little
has it in her
clutch, right?
hand. Her little clutch, yeah. She's got it in her hand. She sits down with it and she's like, she fiddles with it and she puts it on her lap. And then this guy comes in from the rain with his fucking shiny ass rain jacket. Um, and like sits down, and he was like, "Yeah, I think you dropped your thing," and then it like engages her in a conversation. And I understand this was a different time, but Tanya, if some crazy man comes in out of the rain and sits next to you on a bus station, are you going to talk to him?
My first thought was, why did he sit so close to her? There's so many open seats.
There's so many open seats. And I was like, you know what? Maybe he's responsible for this. Um, yeah, it freaked me. It freaked me out that he sat so close to her. It freaked me out that they were having such. I mean, as I've gotten older, I've become like my dad in that I chat with people in lines and stuff. Like I might say something to someone if like, oh hey. I did it the other day and I was just like, stop being your dad. Um,
Oh God,
but
I'm the opposite. I'm
dude,
just
I
like
used to
filled
never
with
talk to
anxiety if
people.
people even look in my direction.
It's like I do.
I'm like the stereotypical nerd in that way. Like I have to
Mm,
go to my quiet place because strangers
yeah,
looked at me.
right? I used to be like that, and the reason I knew that I had changed was because I was taking an Uber at like 6:30 in the morning to the airport, and I get in, and the guy says, "What's up? Good morning." I said, "What's up? Good morning." And then we talked the entire rest of the way to the airport. We were talking about basketball. We were talking about the history of the city, and it wasn't 7 o'clock in the morning yet. And I was just like, and then I got in line, and I was like talking to people in front of me. I mean, maybe I was mad,
You just
but
described my absolute worst nightmare.
yeah, it's terrible.
I
I
don't
wish I
even
could
want
go
my
back to the old days.
I don't even want my family to talk to me that early. Like no, I'm serious. Sometimes I pretend to
I
be
feel
asleep.
you.
Hope right. I hope nobody's my family's watches this, but sometimes I pretend to be asleep because I know they'll talk to me.
Yeah, I
And
feel that.
one time my son opened my eye
I
because he
remember that.
suspected I wasn't. Yeah, he suspected I
That's
wasn't
right.
really sleeping. He just like opened my eye, and I was like, "Are you kidding me right now?"
Hmm. I'm like that too. I have a no. I have like a no talking before like I've journaled rule, and so when I go to my parents' house, I know that they're up as early as I am often, and I really want coffee, so I either have to get up earlier and go down before anybody goes downstairs, or I just have to wait until I feel ready to talk before I go down there because I can't just walk down there and ignore them. That's not how your Caribbean households work,
No,
guys. Um, so I
you
have
get
to like be
a
prepared
shoe
to
thrown in your
engage.
face.
You know, you have to be prepared to engage. And I remember one time I told my dad, he was like, "Good morning." I was like, he was like talking, and I was like, "Daddy, I'm not ready to talk yet." And he just looked at me. And he was like, "Uh-huh," and I was like, "Shit, shit,
So
shit."
yeah, no, my husband and his parents, they wake up and they're awake. Like they're just awake. Like they're sleeping and then they're awake. There's no hazy in between. It takes me like a solid 5 minutes for my body to catch up to my brain when I wake up.
Mm-hmm.
And they wake up and they're just awake. So I know that if I get up and I just go straight downstairs, everyone will talk to me. How did you sleep?
Yeah,
And normal questions. How did you sleep? Are you hungry? What do you want for breakfast? But when I first wake up, I feel like I'm being interrogated. And it's like,
yeah.
how dare you ask me what I want for breakfast? It
Fine,
is
leave me alone.
7:30. Yeah, exactly. So I need like 15, 20 minutes
I do too.
before I
I
can
just need to
engage
make
with the
sure
world.
that like exactly, right? I'm checking, when you meditate and it's just like check in with your fingers and your toes and feel them. Like that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a systems check. Before the systems check is complete, I do not want to talk to anybody. That's why I love a cat.
Mm.
Right, Mouse, who sleep on my pillow over there.
Sometimes
Um
sometimes the little one, he gets into the bed and just puts his mouth over my nose.
to make
So
sure you're
that
still alive.
like, but like I'm sleeping with my mouth closed. So suddenly I'm
Mm.
inhaling just warm CO2 and like jerks me awake.
He loves for you to wake up gasping.
Yeah. See, he is a haunting. He is a
Yes, he's
haunting.
trying to steal your breath. He's a little succubus.
Yes, he is an evil cat.
He's an evil cat. Yeah. Yeah. TNG. Yeah. So her purse wasn't there. And I feel like they did at this point, I think she's so just like confused about what's going on and just looking for another person to confide in. She's like, you don't know that I'm crazy yet. But like I wish that a bigger deal had been made over the fact that he handed her a purse that she was already holding. Right. So then that made me
But then she
wonder.
doesn't have two purses when he gives it to her.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. She doesn't. but like, where did the other one go if you were holding it? Um,
Do you think that guy was setting her up to get the doppel to take her place? Although Smiley running guy was his dop, so I don't know.
I was super suspicious of him when he first came in, to be completely honest. So I can see a world in that where that is true, but because it's just like, that the look he gives him when he's running away, just like like when you chase a little
It
kid,
was
like,
so
ah,
s Yeah, it was really scary to me, like, that he was just so smiley and, looking back and just
it was so weird.
so like, knowing he knows I'm the Doppler, like, you're the original, and I'm coming to take your place.
I'm coming to take it. Yeah, so scary. That part was really fucked.
And that it
And
just leaves off there, like, we have no idea
no idea. I mean, I
why
love a
this
cliffhanger
happened.
like that.
Yeah, me too. I don't want it explained. I like to let
It's
my imagination run wild, and I can just freak myself out.
Speaking of imaginations running wild, there was a point when I was just thinking, I was like, well, are we actually seeing the same timeline the whole time? Are we being switched back and forth and we don't even realize it? Like, are we seeing these two things happen at the same time? And they're just cutting back and forth between the two. Uh.
He was
We shouldn't
looking
have laughed
behind
that hard
himself.
at that.
He was looking behind himself and running, so yeah, it's possible.
Yeah,
Definitely gotta
so
watch the
funny.
road. If it was New York, definitely.
Oh yeah, I saw some guy walk out into the street. The light wasn't his. He did the thing where he looked and then he looked left, but then he didn't look right before he crossed and the light was still green and then the guy was like, this close to being hit. I told Tanya last week, people really have put a lot of trust in people's brakes passing inspections around here cuz
I have been hit by a car twice, and I have also hit someone with a car twice.
were they bike
Jake,
delivery
just
people?
kidding, police. That was a joke. That was hyperbole, Mr.
Ah,
Mr. Officer.
it is the Twilight Zone. Ha. We're doing opposite day all day.
I didn't hit anybody with a car. Would
Mm-mm.
never do that. No, that's
Nope.
crazy.
I mean, me and my kid were playing pretend, and he's got this truck and this train that he likes to just crash into things. And it was my turn, but I used a car.
Like, what's the like statute of limitations for hitting somebody with a car?
Oh, I
Like,
don't
Google
know.
that. Go ahead and talk. I'm
Esquire,
gonna
let
Google
me
that.
know. Uh, I've never pulled out when I seen a chart. Yeah. You know what? I'm an early signaler, Peter Griffin.
Me
I
too.
signal like as soon as I think that I'm gonna turn, click, 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 click. Like, yeah, no, I'm going on because you can't trust people. I think the secret to being a successful driver in New York is to anticipate fuckery and also just to leave enough space for it to happen. Like they tell you in drivers that leave enough space if something stops in front of you, da da da. But you have to like anticipate people stopping like 15 cars in front of you, right? Because the worst, and just to be on the lookout for your surroundings, because nothing's worse than like turning down a one-way street and getting stuck behind like the garbage truck in the summertime, or a school bus when kids are back in session. That sucks. But yeah, you have to be aware of these things. Um, yeah, I don't know. I guess, yeah, I didn't trust him at first because I was just like, how is this guy going to come in? And he just seems so genuinely concerned. And I know this is a different time because I'm thinking about, shit, what's his name? Old boy from last week in that episode of the Inner Sanctum, the Dark Chamber, where he comes in and he's like, as soon as they introduce the woman to the scene, he's like, it's all right, baby. I'll take care of you. Don't worry. Can I help you, miss? Let me carry your bags. Like all those vibes, things that don't really happen anymore. So I guess it speaks to the time of somebody coming and trying to be like the hero.
Mhm.
But you know, that's why it felt like such a betrayal to me when he called the cops on her.
Yeah, because she thought he was gonna get her a ride, and so
Because
she relaxed and she let her guard down.
yeah. And the thing is, if your bus is already late and you know the next bus is until 7 o'clock in the morning, in my mind, you could accompany her to the police station and just like be there advocating for her and be like, yeah, I know she's crazy, but like, my bus is not till 7. I got nothing to do. I'm not going to sleep in the station anyway. Like, whatever. Let me go help a bitch out. But no, he did not. He left
No.
her to be taken away and I'm mad.
I thought the older clerk worker was funny when he
I thought
said,
it
"What
was
did he say? Her attic's leaking. She's got a leak in her attic."
look in her attic. Oh, old timey turns of phrase. Yeah, he had a few good ones. He had a few good ones. He's like, just let me read my magazine. I'm like, you really reading a magazine? I forgot that was a thing that was done.
Just like to say for the record that vehicular assault is a class D is a class D felony, and that I did not commit vehicular assault in the first degree. So I did not commit a class D felony, and also the statute of limitations has long passed. So one time,
In the event that you did, hypothetically, had you done such a
hypothetically,
thing,
hypothetically, you hit a guy with a car because he runs out into the street, but then his pants fall down and he jumps up, realizes his pants have fallen down, pulls them up, and continues running. That's allegedly what happened. So,
can't make this shit up, guys. Unless you just did.
hypothetically, I did not commit a class D felony.
Wow. Yeah. Wow.
Yes, my doppel was driving a car that looks exactly like mine,
Wait, you
and
said this is
she
in
hit a guy.
Chicago, right?
My doppel's in Chicago. So yeah, I was in Boston. My
Yeah,
doppel's in
this
Chicago.
clearly took place in Chicago.
There's one in well, I guess there is one in Boston too. There's one in New York, in Brooklyn, there's one in Boston, and there's one in Chicago.
I feel like if I ever see a doppelganger again, then I'm gonna stop and say hello. Because you
I
know,
think
it's
I'm
like
gonna
the
challenge her to a fight.
Of course you will.
Because only one it can be only one.
She's gonna pull like double blades out of her back.
It'll
Just be ready.
it'll be in that moment that I know I've lost. Like hand to hand, I might stand a chance, but you add
Mm,
weapons to the mix, I'm screwed.
mm.
I have no weapons training.
Yeah, we should get
Unless you
on that.
count like a folding chair. Or a
What's your draw time on a folding chair?
I was
Like
gonna
how
say,
fast do you
or a
flip it
ketchup
up?
bottle,
Flip
and I'll
that.
tell you that story later.
I have intrigued.
I mean, the
Uh,
statute of limitations on that is definitely done. I absolutely beat someone with a ketchup bottle because he called me a bitch.
he had it coming. He had it coming. I
And
think that's the second
like
time I've done that.
I was 10. I was 10, and like Queen Latifah had come out with UNITY, and
Mm,
he called me a bitch. He was like 11 or 12. And I
yeah,
said, "Who you calling a bitch?" Blat with a ketchup bottle.
I love it. I
Shout out to Queen
love it.
Latifah. She's my favorite.
Yeah.
She
Wow.
empowered 10-year-old me to not allow someone to call me out of my name.
These are the moments.
These are the moments.
Whew.
Anywho, she has a leak
Um,
in her attic. It made me think of how like women were so often accused of just being hysterical.
yes. That's why they were able to get away with this episode in the way that they were during this
Mhm.
time. I mean, because like everybody feels a little crazy sometimes,
I
but
mean,
like,
she did sound crazy.
yeah.
If
Well,
I were the ticket taker, the clerk or whatever, I would have thought she was crazy too.
I would have thought she was on drugs.
Yeah,
I would have thought, I don't know which drug that is, but I would have thought she was on some
a
kind of
good
drug.
one.
Yeah. Especially, and then when she's talking to homie, the trader, um, they're just like sitting there and she's like, oh man, I remember this article.
Hello,
One
Alexa.
second.
Hello, Alexa. Thanks for joining us.
She reminds me to do things. I'm glad that I have headphones on because she would have responded to you. I should show you guys her tricks. um, she has custom responses and it's really fun. Um, yeah. Oh yeah. So she starts talking about this article that she's read where there are other dimensions. There's a fifth dimension, and there are like parallel timelines that are happening. And now in 2023, we're like, yeah, we know about the multiverse, bitch, but like back
Back
then,
then he's like, okay, crazy, dialing 911.
you know, you're like, oh man, like science and physics has shown us some really interesting things, and just that they didn't have access to back then. Um, So yeah, I get that. I mean, I would have been like, okay, this woman is high, and clearly, she's on some other shit. And let me just be nice to her until her bus comes, and then she can put her on the bus, and she'll just figure it out on her way to Buffalo. I also shout out to the
Right.
fact that it's the upstate New York bus station. Boo, boo, boo.
Date your doppel?
Huh?
Would you date your doppel? Like if you met your doppelganger and she was like, hey, I'm really into you. Because I feel like the vanity in me would be like, I'm going to give her a shot.
Yeah.
She's
I,
gorgeous.
I feel like I can't have this conversation live. We can talk about this offline. Because I've thought about this extensively.
Would you
We're
fuck
not.
me? I'd fuck me. Remember that? Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah, that's an offline conversation. I would totally date my doppel, though, if you need to know the answer to that question. Yes, I would, because I know me.
I wouldn't because I know me.
Oh, I would. I'd be
I don't
so
know how
happy.
anybody I don't
We'd
know
be
how
so
anybody
happy
deals with
together.
me. I don't know how
I'd be
anyone
like,
deals with
oh,
me. I don't know how you deal with me.
you're easy to deal with, I think. I'd just be
Yeah.
like, oh, I'd look at me and be like, oh, she's in a mood. Let me go get her some volcanoes. It would be so
Yeah,
easy.
I'd be like, this bitch is in a bad mood again. Ugh.
You'd
What
buy
does she
yourself a nice
want
present,
now?
though. You'd
I'd
buy
buy
yourself
myself
gifts.
excellent gifts. I would buy
Yeah.
myself excellent gifts.
My allergies are running. Hold on. I gotta get a
But then
tissue. My
I'd be
allergies
the one
are running.
expecting the gifts. I have to wait for her to come back now. I would be the one expecting the gifts. And so I wouldn't be buying myself dope gifts. I'd be like, why isn't my doppel buying me dope gifts? What's wrong with her?
I feel like if she's your doppel, then you buy each other dope gifts. Like, but maybe the problem is that you buy each other the thing that you wanted for yourself all the time, right? Like,
Or
oh
or
my
or we'll
God,
just
it's the thing.
both sit there waiting for the other to buy gifts and then being mad that we're not buying gifts.
Oh, I
Like
feel
she didn't buy me anything, and the other one be like, she didn't buy me anything. That bitch.
no, I feel like it'd be a perfect situation, right? Come home, except you'd have two of everything. I picked up a pizza. Oh my God, I already bought pizza. Now we've got two. Let's smoke weed and eat them. I also don't do drugs, so
No, not
that's
at
a
all.
true that's a true
Would
statement,
never.
actually.
Would never.
Um,
I would never touch a drop of alcohol or
that's why I
drugs
get so self-conscious about having allergies when we do streams or when we do edits, because I'm just
because
like,
of the sniffling.
but I'm like literally allergic to dust.
You just go off camera and you're like, okay, I'm back.
If you haven't checked
All
out
right, let's talk
Jack
about
Shabak
taco.
on what's she call it?
TikTok.
TikTok. I will find her thing and I'll drop in here because she's hilarious and she's got millions of views for her coverage of the Johnny Depp Amber Heard trial, and some of those are like hurt your belly laughs. So check her out. I'll drop it in a second. But yeah, it's like I'm allergic to dust and cockroaches and cats and dogs.
And she has a
And I don't
cat.
have a dog right now, but I have dust and I live in a building with cockroaches and I have a cat. So
So she's not sneaking off camera to like do bumps.
no,
It just
I love
sounds
my
like
life too much. It just sounds like it.
it.
Woe is me. Please don't fire me, I swear. Yeah.
That would make for a wild stream. Instead of like having a drink and talking about a TV show, like everyone just rails coke and just
We'd have to call it something else. Uh, Something with bumps. That'll come to me later.
bumps in the night.
Done. Yeah. That's we're not doing that on YouTube.
No,
You got to
it would be
subscribe.
straight to jail. Straight to
Yeah.
jail.
You have to subscribe to our What is it?
Our Patreon.
Our Patreon or our OnlyFans or
That would definitely be
our
OnlyFans
private
material.
Twitch. Our private Twitch
Just
channel.
fuck around and get my kids taken away.
Yeah. 1,000,001. Do bumps in the night. Ah,
Oh, my husband would
anyway.
leave me and take the kids.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know.
He'd leave you at a bus stop in
He'd
upstate
leave
New
me at a
York.
bus station with my doppel and I'd get put in a mental hospital.
Yeah. I always wonder, well, okay, that's a whole other conversation. Never mind. So he thinks she's crazy because she's talking about otherworldly shit about and was or do you think that he was more freaked out by the fact that she was she could read? He's like, "Oh, you're too pretty to be learning things."
I think I don't think it was the fact that she could read. I think he was freaked out by what she was reading. And I
Yeah.
don't think he believed that she read that. I feel like he thought she just came up with that in the moment because he was
Oh,
like,
that's our cover
"Oh,
story.
oh, you read it somewhere. Okay, yeah. Yeah, okay, I
I
believe
seen
you."
it. I seen it online.
Sent it.
Yeah. I don't know. I still like I did I enjoy the fact that he got a taste of his own medicine, that he got to
Yes.
experience what he was
I
like. Yes, I did. Because I will feel betrayed by his actions forever and always. Um, but I guess, when they end like that, like, does he catch him?
well, no, the guy
Does he
got
get hit by
away.
the bus? He gets away? Like, does he go back and catch the bus? Like, what do you do with your life after you have just committed a woman or sent her off with the police? Because we don't know what happens to her. We assume that she's going to be put into like Arkham or whatever, right? What do you
Arco.
do? Well, yeah.
But
What do
also
you do with
remember
your life
his
after that?
his bag went missing. That's what caused him oops. His bag went missing and that's what caused him to look around.
Oh,
His bag went missing. He saw a guy run out the door and he follows the guy out the door and the guy turns around and it's his doppel.
right. But like, what do you do with the rest of your life knowing that you have a doppelganger and that you sent some woman? Like, do you go to the police station? I feel like if it was me, I would.
I wouldn't.
I would go. I'd want to exonerate her.
I wouldn't. I'd be like, they're not locking me up like her.
Oh, I'd just be like, you know what? She was off her meds. I have them now.
It's like your bottle of aspirin. I got it.
Yeah, totally. I felt bad for her. But overall, 2 thumbs up. It made me watch, honestly, watching this because if you're watching it on whatever streaming thing that you are watching it on, the next episode just plays automatically. So,
Yeah.
before I knew it, I was like 7 episodes away from this one.
I had to force
Um,
myself to stop because I knew
yeah.
I wouldn't get anything done and I had stuff to do.
Yeah, I'm gonna because what's the one that I was in the middle of watching? The one that little Marky comes from.
That was
Uh,
29, I think.
Nightmare
My
as a Child.
my remote's all the way back there. So I have it up on
Yeah.
the screen right now, but my remote's all the
Oh,
way back there.
word. Yes, you're right. Episode 29. So I'm gonna go finish watching that. Because it seemed really fun. This woman comes home and there's this little kid, and she starts, she tells her about she thinks it was a dream and she saw this man in a car, and she's like, yeah, no, I know. And she starts to describe him, and then the man comes to the house and she's like having all like for me, I was like, now in this day and age, I'm like, oh my God, it's totally her inner child, right? But I'll pretend like I don't know that. Oh,
Well, let's talk
man.
about what we have coming up.
All the things.
Next week, we're doing The Craft, and we're bringing back our friend Kojo, who did the vampire one, Interview with the
Vampire.
Vampire.
Yes, yes.
And Jackie's joining us.
I think so. Either Jackie or Mitra. I have to check in with both of them, but I will let you know.
Okay, so yes, we have some guests. Kojo's definitely joining us. He
Yeah.
confirmed with me today.
Yep. So that's October 17th.
The
And then
Craft. Bring your eyeliner.
bring your eyeliner. And then
Maybe I'll wear contacts just so that my eyeliner I can do it all dramatic.
ooh, yeah.
I
Yeah.
still
Get
have
those
some
like one of those
left.
like remember those little necklaces, those like plastic ones with all the
I
weird
have a
things in those?
choker. I have a black satin choker with handcuffs, little handcuffs. I wore
Oh.
it to a kink birthday party years ago. Actually,
Sorry.
no, it wasn't a birthday party. It was a book release.
Hmm.
called
Yeah.
Push the Button by Feminista Jones.
Oh, yes.
So if you're into that kind of stuff, check that out.
That's
Let's
fine.
see.
That able to. Wait, which one is that?
Oh, I remember that episode. Yeah, there's no, this is a different episode
Yeah,
where
no.
this kid, the adults are all like doing whatever he wants, and they're spoiling him, and it's because he can, like Peter said, it's because he can make them disappear.
Oh, no,
I
I'm gonna
don't
have to watch
remember
that one.
I don't remember which episode that is, but yeah, I do
Um,
remember it.
yeah, little Marky in this one is she's a little girl.
Mm.
She's a little girl. So yeah, check out episode 29.
I love the Twilight Zone. Maybe next season we'll do another one. I don't know. We
I mean,
have
we
some
can. There's
things.
plenty to choose from.
There's so much to choose from, and I didn't spend a lot of time choosing this time. So I think next time I'm gonna like really go through, because I haven't done my binge for this year yet.
Yeah, yeah.
And the great thing about it is I honestly forget the episodes until I go back. So
Yeah, it doesn't matter how many times you've seen them. It's always shocked. I'm going to do the same thing for the Inner Sanctum episode that I mentioned last week, one where the guy gets killed and then he like whistles and he ends up killing everybody who was in on killing him. And then it turns out that he wasn't dead or something. I can't remember, but yeah, I'll
send me
definitely.
that one.
Yeah, I have to find it. I have to I don't know what it's called, and I've been like
Oh,
writing in descriptions, and there's like 300 episodes, so help. Yeah. So then, yeah, on the 22nd, no, is it the 20th or 22nd? Yes, the 22nd, we have book club, The Monsters We Defy by Leslie
Leslie
Penelope.
Penelope. Get the
Shout out to
audiobook
you
if
for
you
following
can.
us on on Instagram.
I
Yeah.
know she liked our post. That was so awesome.
Yeah, so that'll be really fun. It's a nice gold story, ghost story. It's like
Mhm.
a ghost story, heist story,
Mhm.
um, all of these things, but set in the Roaring 20s in
Yeah,
Black DC.
it's a spooky heist set in the Roaring 20s. There's lots of ghosts and spirits and bargains made between people and ghosts.
Yeah, and as we know, when you make bargains with the supernatural, it always comes with a price.
Always comes with a price.
Yeah, yeah. And then after that, we're doing Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice,
Beetlejuice on the
Beetlejuice.
24th. Beetlejuice,
Oh,
October
I can't
24th.
wait to watch that again.
I love Beetlejuice. And I realized a couple days ago that I don't own it, which is weird because
Mm,
I watch it all the time. So I'm like, I think I'm gonna buy this.
yeah.
Um, and then on Halloween, we'll be back on Halloween because we're not going out on a Tuesday night. No, I have kids.
I mean, I am, but it's
Oh,
just to take my nephew trick or treating.
oh yeah, no,
I'll be back by 9.
I'm taking my kids trick or treating at like 6 o'clock,
Mm,
like 6:30 maybe, and from 6:30 till about 7:15,
mm,
because we
yeah.
just kind of circle our block. There's a house up the street that does like really crazy decorations every year, and they build like a chute coming out of the window because they're in the second unit. So they build a
Mm,
chute that goes to the sidewalk, and you go and you put your bucket underneath it, and they throw candy down the chute.
I love it.
They have an Instagram page. I forgot what it is though, but they decorate really crazy for Halloween and for Christmas, and like they go all out. It's like really, really crazy.
I love when people
Um,
do that.
yeah,
My
next time you're in
building,
Harlem, I'll show it to you because they
yeah, super
really,
down.
really do. Like they put like a huge inflatable Santa on the roof of their townhouse, and like it's just really, really crazy.
My
So
old
we go trick or
building,
treating there.
my old building does they do a haunted garden every year. They used to do it in the basement, but lots of things have changed since the last time they did that. So they do a haunted garden. So I have to see if they're doing that this year because I always like to help out with that. Um,
We usually go to Boo at the Zoo. Bronx Zoo has like trick or treating and pumpkin carving lights that you can go through and see all the different carved pumpkins, and
ooh,
they have lots of things for kids called Boo at the Zoo. So we usually do that too. We're gonna do that the weekend before, and we might go apple picking. We went pumpkin picking this past weekend, and my favorite apple picking place because they have the best donuts. I'm considering going back just for the donuts and let them go
Hi, Sean.
Hi, Sean. Okay, so Sean is my DM. I just finished playing D&D with him. He's an amazing DM. Sean, drop your info if you can. If you want to join a really, really awesome online game of D&D, Sean is the best.
Hi,
And I
Sean.
absolutely adore him. Sean, you are the best. I adore you. I love playing D&D with you. I had never played before Sean, and so he's taught me the game, introduced me to the whole thing, and I absolutely love it. And we had to start early tonight so that I could get to the stream in time. So yes, Sean, I love
Yeah.
you. You're the best.
Eventually, I will come join your game, but I'm stuck on my characters things.
Yes, she's
I'm,
still
I'm,
building.
I'm
This is
still
the
building
Nikki
my
I was
character.
this is the Nikki I was telling you about, Sean. We're still
I'm
building her character.
sorry. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
I promise. I do want to play. I'll get there. I'll get there.
It's so fun. Like
I
we
know.
were in a maze tonight. I fought a bear. I mean, it was it was really great. I have a backup character too. It's a
Nice.
half elf backup character because I just assumed my character would die because of I just let her
Oh,
jump into complete and utter bullshit with just feet
maybe
first.
maybe that's how I get through making my characters. I'll just make two, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Yeah, do
Okay,
that.
I'll try that. I
Yeah,
have the thing on my iPad.
you'll have to join our Tuesday night crew. Here we go.
Yeah, word. Oh yeah. So all that to say, on Halloween, we're doing a Nightmare on Elm Street. Woohoo!
I have, in multiple occasions, accidentally kicked someone or something to death because I roll too high after I kick someone.
I wish I could say that surprises me.
I killed a
It doesn't.
badger and a dwarf by kicking them and rolling too high for damage, and it turns out I like kicked their head off.
Wow.
And I always try to like not kill animals, or like, and I keep everyone else from killing animals. But then one time I just like my aim was too good, and I was like, whoops.
It's so funny to hear you say that because I know that you kind of like animals. And Tanya is like the same mentality as another one of my friends. Shout out to Pilar, who when we were talking about like animals one day, she was like, "Listen, I just need them to fit well and taste good," and I was like,
Listen, when it comes to animals, I'm Dwight Schrute. Does it
"What?"
produce milk, meat, or wool? Then what use is it? Does it provide protection? Hi, honey. What's up? All right, one of my ghosts is awake. I'm assuming the other
Hmm.
one is asleep because he hasn't come out of his room.
I was gonna say he didn't follow.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not an animal person, but I don't think people should just go around killing them. I'm not evil. Like I'm not a serial killer. I just don't have
Yeah.
an affinity for animals. I wear lamb leather because it's so soft. And sorry to that lamb. I will use your chops for Easter dinner. I
I have
believe
a
in using
vegan
all
leather purse.
parts. I
I
have
thrifted
vegan
it,
leather, nothing.
and it's so soft. But
I'm
I'm an animal lover
all of
because I'm allergic to them, and they still freeload in my apartment.
nah, I've never growing up, like my grandma had dogs and they didn't even have names. They were there to protect the house and that was it. It was
Yeah,
just dog.
I know that
The brown one, the black one. Like that was it. And so that's kind of
vibe.
like the attitude I grew up with as far as pets. It was like they guard the house, they provide meat, they provide milk, or they provide wool or leather. And if they don't do any of those things, like why are they here? Or they chase rats. Oh,
You
I
hope.
was wrong. The other one's awake.
Uh-oh. And now we just see her chair being dragged off, and then we just get Twilight Zone. And scene. What do you
The
whistle?
name was when you whistle. Exactly. Exactly.
Uh, oh
Well,
man, I'm excited about spooky season. We've done
I
two. We're
love
two
spooky
down.
season. We're 2 down, 3 to go. I'm really, really excited. In particular, I just noticed Nikki is little Marky. I may call you that from now on. Yes, please do. Please call her that. So
Yeah.
The 17th, the craft.
Ah, you have a demon in your corner.
You see the face just pop up in the corner.
Ah.
Well, on that note, the 17th, we have the craft. The
22nd, we have book club, the
The
monsters we
22nd, we
defy.
have book club Monsters We Defy.
The
There's still time to
24th,
read it. The
Beetlejuice.
24th, Beetlejuice. And then my favorite on Halloween, 1, 2, Freddy's
I'm
coming
so mad you
for
leaned into the mic
you.
for that. You
3,
just got all
4, you
crystal
better
clear, and
shut
now I have to.
the door.
Oh, you've never seen The Craft?
Go watch it. I think it's on Hulu right now. So go watch it. Kojo's going to join us for the craft. So definitely watch it. And
Can
this
I
baby has
absolutely,
a empty milk gallon. He's trying to drag me away.
absolutely unrelated? I just like to wish a happy NBA preseason to those who observe.
I am
With
not
that,
those who
I
observe.
cannot. Oh, I'm so glad there's all the games. So yeah, yeah. Go Knicks, go Celtics. Woo, woo.
So yes, keep in mind the 17th. We'll repeat all the dates each week. So the next one is the 17th, The Craft. Sean, go
Yeah.
watch it. It's on Hulu, I think. It's really good. Kojo's going to join us. Kojo's amazing and he loves this movie. And
Yeah, I'll ask Jackie.
yeah, as Jackie and
Mitra. Yeah, those two.
no. My water is contaminated because the toddler put his hand in it.
At least it's not your beer.
At least it's not my beer. It's really gross. He puts his fingers together and just dips them into it.
Ugh.
Yeah, now he's putting his fingers in my shot glass. The shot glass is from D&D. I've had quite a night.
I was gonna say you've had a full night.
I've had a
You out
full
there
night.
thriving.
Hello, Christ. I'm about to sin again.
On that note.
And I just popped off my pinky nail. So I've been Tanya.
I'm always Nikki.
We'll see you next Tuesday. Sean, please tune in and enjoy us. We are so fun.
Yeah.
And we usually only go once a month, but for Halloween, we're doing every week. And we might possibly do all of December because we also love Christmas season.
We really do. Because last time when we tried to do we did 3 movies at once last time. And it was intense. It was a great time.
Very intense.
But it was intense.
But next time we should break it up weekly.
It made sense though. We could have just done a Tim Burton month, but
yeah, that's true.
We were really ambitious.
You live and you learn. We'll see you guys next week with The Craft. Bye.
Bye.